So let me tell you about two distancing tools that we've studied and that I personally use a lot. One is called distance self-talk. And what this involves is trying to coach yourself or think through a problem using your own name and the second person pronoun you. Doing this silently, of course, not out loud. The form this might take is if I'm really stressed about something, I'm like, all right, Ethan, how are you going to manage the situation? What we know is that it's much easier for us to give advice to other people than it is to often give advice to ourselves. Many people report finding it much, much easier to weigh in on someone else's problems objectively than their own. And what I absolutely love about this distant self-talk technique is it uses language to shift the way we think about ourselves. So we typically use names and pronouns like you when we think about other people. And so the link between using a name and a pronoun and thinking about someone else in our mind is so incredibly tight that when we use those parts of speech to think about ourselves, it gets us to relate to ourselves like we were relating to someone else. That makes it much, much easier for us to work through our problems in a more wise and deliberate manner. So the moment I detect some chatter beginning to brew, I instantly use this technique. It works really fast. All right, Ethan, how are you going to manage the situation? It alters my perspective, helps me regulate my emotions. That's one tool. The second tool that I often use with distant self-talk is something that we call mental time travel. And this involves thinking about how I'm going to feel about something that I'm struggling with sometime down the road, a day from now, a week from now, a month from now. All of our emotions come and go. They peak and eventually end. And if you take a step back to think about our lives as a whole, we can easily become aware of this. The problem is that when we are mired in chatter, we lose sight of that bigger picture concerning our emotional experiences. And we can feel like the stress is overwhelming and is never going to end. So simply reminding oneself that, hey, a week from now, you're probably not going to be as worried about this as you are right now. Or maybe it's a year from now. That does something really powerful for a mind that is consumed with chatter. It gives it hope. And hope can be a useful antidote for this chatter experience. So those are usually my first line of defense when it comes to chatter. I use my name to coach myself through the problem, and I think about how I'm going to feel about this a week or a month or a year from now. More often than not, that takes the edge off. It doesn't make the problem disappear, which we actually wouldn't want to do, right? Negativity in small doses is very, very useful. It's a functional state that we've evolved to experience. What makes negativity dysfunctional is when it consumes us in the form of chatter. And these tools take the edge off that negativity, allowing us to, or me personally, to get back to my life.